The New Jersey Devils were one of the surprise teams in the NHL this season, but can they take their regular season success and translate it to the Stanley Cup playoffs? Trey Matthews of Locked On New Jersey Devils is here to talk about that as the Devils prepare to meet the Rangers in round one. Gil Martin here. The Locked On road to the Stanley Cup continues as we welcome Trey Matthews from Locked On Devils to take stock of New Jersey's chances to make a deep playoff run. And Trey, welcome to the show. And what do you feel is the biggest storyline for the Devils coming into the playoffs?
Just the storyline is just redemption from last year and just proving a lot of people wrong because they have the highest single season point turnaround in the NHL history with plus 49. So talk about just improving from one season to another. So I think for the New Jersey Devils, you just look at some of their impactful players, including Nico Hischier, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, getting Timo Meier at the trade deadline. Not only that, but Dougie Hamilton was able to bounce back from an injury-plagued year. Vitek Vanacek was a huge get during the course of the offseason. So the New Jersey Devils, just the biggest storyline was that they were able to go from a lottery team because they had the second overall pick in the draft last year. And now they were able to have the single season biggest point turnaround in NHL history with plus 49, surpassing, I think, the 2007 Pittsburgh Penguins and the 2018 Colorado Avalanche because they were tied with plus 47. So now plus 49 for the New Jersey Devils. It's just been an amazing year. And
no question. I mean, to go from the second pick in the draft to still contending for the division title in game 82 is very, very impressive. Trey, what is the biggest reason your team will win the Stanley Cup this year?
They have such a good offensive dynamic. So I just mentioned Jack Hughes. He was able to reach 99 points. Nico Hischier, he was able to reach 80 points. Jesper Bratt, he was able to match his career high in points from last year. Dougie Hamilton, here's something that a lot of people are not talking about. He was able to tie the franchise record for most goals in a single season by a defenseman that was set by Barry Beck in the late 1970s. And now he was able to match it, just one goal shy of breaking that record. But nonetheless, the Devils have a lot of offensive weapons that they can go to. And it goes back to last year, which was if the Devils got decent goaltending, which they were able to do with Vitek Vanacek, like I mentioned, I felt as though the Devils could have been a lot more competitive because they were able to put up like 4, 5, 6, or 7 goals more consistently than a lot of other teams in the league. However, the thing is, like, it doesn't matter if you're letting up like all those goals in return to the other opponent. So that was my thing, which was their defense needed to improve, but their goaltending, that was the biggest issue because I believe they were last in the entire NHL for save percentage when it comes to goaltending last year. So the fact that Vitek Vanacek and Akira Schmid and Mackenzie Blackwood at times were able to hold down the fort in between the pipes is just amazing for New Jersey Devils. And like I said, the offensive weapons that they got, I think that certainly should not be underestimated.
And how about the reason this team would not win the Stanley Cup this year?
That's a tough one. I would say maybe just lack of experience because a lot of these players have not seen the day of light after 82 games. So the thing is, like, I think back to that Tampa Bay Lightning mini series because the Devils played the Tampa Bay Lightning 3 times in their stretch of 4 games at one point during the year. And I said, that's a good test for them. They dropped the first one. They dropped the second one. I believe in a shootout, they were able to win the third one. But that was my thing. Treat that like a little playoff series. And unfortunately, what happened? They know, like, oh, this is a series. Like, this team is going to see you multiple times. It's not like one and done, and then you move on to the next opponent. Then you don't see that opponent like a few weeks or a month or so. It's a series kind of thing. So that's my thing for New Jersey Devils. I'm curious to see how they'll fare in a 7-game series because obviously there's a difference between being a good regular season team and then being a good playoff team. And I think that's going to hinder the Devils just a little bit. I think it's just the experience. And another factor is they have to get off to a good start in period number 1 because that's been an Achilles heel for Devils throughout the course of the year. When they get off to slow starts, sometimes they can't get out of their own way. With Andre Palat, Eric Haula, Brendan Smith, a lot of other veteran pieces on this roster who have some playoff experience, I think that'll help people like Jack Hughes, who hasn't played in the playoffs at all in his career.
Give us a key player to watch for the Devils this year in the playoffs.
Nico Hischier. So Nico Hischier is actually my pick to be the Devils MVP. I know a lot of people want me to say Jack Hughes, but I'm not going to. No. That's too easy. The thing about Jack Hughes is that he racks up the points. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. But Nico Hischier is so valuable to this team. So according to Ryan Novosinski, who's the beat reporter for the Devils for NJ.com, he said 33 of Tatar's 48 points came when he was paired with Nico Hischier, 15 goals and 18 assists. When Dawson Mercer joined Hischier's line on February 16th, he exploded with an 8-game goal streak, tied for the longest in franchise history, and a 12-game point streak. And if I haven't convinced you, when he was on the ice at 5-on-5, the Devils outscored opponents 127-72. So Jack Hughes might be the best player in terms of racking up the points, but I think the anchor for this Devils team is Nico Hischier because he's the leader. He's obviously the captain, and they just know how to play suffocating brand of hockey when Nico Hischier is out there.
All right, so what would a successful playoff run look like for the Devils, and what's at stake if they fall short?
I want the Devils to be competitive once again, because last time that they were competitive, you would have to go back to the 2011-2012 playoffs when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. Back in 2018, yes, they went to the playoffs, but they were dealt in 5 games by the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that's my thing. I would like to see the Devils make it out. If the Devils are able to make it out the first round, I will be a happy camper. And whatever happens after that, it is just like icing on the cake. So that's my thing. I want the Devils to be competitive in the playoffs once again and show the world that this was not a fluke, that they're legitimate, they have a bright future. So that's my thing. I want the Devils to make it out the first round.
Fair enough. Trey, thank you so much. That does it for our Devils preview here on the Locked On Road to the Stanley Cup. Be sure to subscribe to or follow Locked On New Jersey Devils for free on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. The Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.